Vandal Savage's research center.
Who's Vandal Savage?
You're joking. He's everything I've been fighting against. The undisputed dictator of this repressive regime.
Imagine coming back to a world after a cross-galaxy mission, only to return to see the place you call home being completely different. And not different in the sense that time has gone by in your absence, but different in that Axis flags hang on every street corner. Tyrants roam the streets, and worst of all, the Allies lost World War II. Yo, welcome back to the House of Animation, y'all. It's your boy Jay back with another banger of a video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn them noties on. In today's episode, we're going to be exploring the themes and story of the season 1 ending arc of Justice League titled The Savage Times. But first, let's drop that intro. In the 3-part episode titled The Savage Times, we see our favorite band of DC superheroes, the Justice League, travel back in time to World War II, where the world is ruled by a villainous dictator named Vandal Savage, and must stop him from altering history and keeping his grip over the world. As they navigate through this dangerous and unfamiliar world, they are forced to confront the themes of sacrifice, how different leadership styles bring about different outcomes, and the consequences of our actions and how they affect the greater good. Let's get it. One of the key themes in this episode is the importance of sacrifice. As the Justice League devises their plan to stop Vandal Savage, they realize that they may have to sacrifice their very own lives in order to save the future. This theme is very evident in the Green Lantern's arc in this story, as we see how he makes a tough decision to allow Hawkgirl, who at this point has been risen up for a while, to leave him in favor of saving lives on the battlefield. The inner Marine in him understands that one life is the price to pay to save a couple soldiers who in turn could turn the tides of the war, or even more importantly, saving billions of lives in the future. Knowing how much he means to Hawkgirl, we see the pain of how leaving him behind puts a toll on her. Even when she's pressed by the Flash, when he finds out that she left the depowered John to essentially fight for his life, and after showing the Flash all the lives she was able to save by not helping GL, the Flash finally understands that they made the right choice, even if it's a choice that would greatly affect them if the worst outcome happened. Shoot, the soldier mentality in John is on full display when he links up and joins the Easy Company, and he shows he is still a superhero without the ring, even in the face of adversity. And this hating ass Brock Lesnar wannabe right here, John does whatever he can to stop the plans of Vandal Savage. Like in part 3, where after the Easy Company fails to stop the bombers from leaving the secret underground bunker, John goes like, "Alright bro, hold my beer," and hops on a bike to do some Evel Knievel type shit and boards the plane and starts wrecking everything, which eventually gets him captured and tortured. But this allows the plane to start to lose altitude, and also it causes the communication to be cut off from the other planes, putting a major wrench into Savage's plans. And ultimately, this is the cause of the plans failing, along with the Flash warning the US, who pull up with that on-site energy. And as John is ready to sacrifice himself to make sure that Savage doesn't get the win, he is saved by Hawkgirl, thus bringing them full circle. We also get great sacrifices from Martian Manhunter, who lets himself get captured and tortured to learn the actual extent of Savage's plans. But no bigger sacrifice is put on display other than that of future Batman.
You understand that if we do change the past, this version of you, will never have existed.
Nothing would make me happier. Now go.
When the future resistance Batman is seeing the Justice League off as they're about to hop back into time through the portal, they explain to him by saying that, hey, if we succeed in this plan, that means this reality that is created right now, the reality that you are living in, will no longer cease to exist. And you know what Batman drops on them? Nothing would make me happier. I tell y'all, he is him, and he's the greatest superhero of all time. The Savage Time explores the theme of leadership and how different leadership styles can bring about different outcomes. In this mini arc, we see different leadership styles from the different members of the Justice League. With Superman, which, by the way, am I the only one who think in these episodes he looked like he's been tripping off that crypto crack? Man's looks sick. Anyway, his leadership is based on his strength and abilities, as we see him calm down the tensions when Resistance Bats points a gun on the League, deciding if they could be trusted, and Superman pulls the ultimate Chad move and hits him with a good old, "If we wanted to hurt you, dog, we could have," and crumples this man's gun, and then he politely hands it back with a smile. Major petty. Or even when he places his trust in the decision making of Wonder Woman, wanting to go join Martian Manhunter so he's not alone in Berlin, or understands that GL does not need a ring to be a superhero and will make it back to them. While Batman's leadership is based on his intelligence and his strategic thinking, as well as his compassion, as we see how much he's respected by the Resistance members, as they all share things in common as being orphans or outsiders. You can see the respect they have for Bats as they pull up with that on-site energy when the League first gets to the Batcave. And also they follow the orders when Bats tell them, "Yo, these guys, they good, because Superman just crumpled my gun. I can't do nothing to that." This is parallel to the leadership style of Vandal Savage, and he was also a savage. That would be an understatement, because how you make Hitler look like the leader of the year? It makes no sense. If you know your history, yes, Hitler was a loose cannon, but at times he did listen to his cabinet. Although in later parts of the war, he did get disillusioned and paranoid with the turning tides of the war and wasn't listening to no one. But I think even he would have listened a bit more to his cabinet. Even when the news of costume superpower men and women came from the front line, he brushes it off as propaganda, which is funny because during the actual Second World War, Superman and Batman were involved with many pro-America propaganda comics. Wonder Woman was also created during this era. And Savage counters this report by saying, "Yo, bro, I've already provided advanced weapons and tech that will allow nothing to oppose us." And when a cabinet member speaks out, this man gets his ass fried. Like, this man's leadership style is just like his last name, and he would do anything to maintain and seize that power. That even means taking out his own men to kill off any dissent. This dude was so thirsty for power that his own future self sent him tech and knowledge that would help him to control the Axis powers and remove Hitler from power, ensuring his future self would be able to rule the world. But Savage would fail to realize that by ruling the world with such a heavy iron fist, that would be the greatest enemy to his own plans. As we see the growing dissent in his soldiers and commander when they state that, "Yo, I know Hitler was a little crazy, but he would never treat us like this." Hold up. Wanted to have Hitler back in power over someone else just goes to show you how tapped Savage was, and that's nuts. This theme is essential because it shows that there is no right way to lead. Effective leadership can come in many forms, and it is important to recognize and appreciate different leadership styles. But on the other hand, it stresses the importance of how not to lead if you ever want to be successful and achieve your desired outcome. Now, the last theme we're gonna explore in this episode is the consequence of our actions. Taking it back to when Batman sees the League off, as they're going to use the time machine, he knows and understands the ramification of the League changing the past. He knows that this version of him will cease to exist. But on the other hand, he understands that in the event that they don't succeed, someone has to be there to fight the opposition. Batman is able to calmly assess all future outcomes on some Doctor Strange shit and understand that he has to be ready for any and all outcomes. His role in this story is again parallel with Savage's, who uses his future knowledge to place his past self in a position of complete dominance. He understands that by doing so will create a future where he retains the power, not caring about what the outcomes are as long as total world dominance is the end game. Savage is not concerned with breaking a couple eggs to make an omelet. Man wants the whole goddamn chicken at this point. This is also shown in Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor's story, as they understand that they must free Ernst, who is the key to decoding Savage's plans. And by understanding what plans are, they will be able to use that in favor and putting them on the same playing field with the opposition. Wonder Woman is even shocked when she hears Ernst speaks and finds out that he's German. And he responds by telling her that, "Yo, we're not all the same." And he realizes that this is the consequence of the actions of some of his people, which has in turn labeled them all. And this does not stop him from trying to do the right thing. Steve Trevor also displays this when he explains to Wonder Woman that some things are worth dying for, and the reason as to why he fights for the freedom of oppressed people. And in the end of their arc, we see them going their separate ways, and he questions her as like, "Yo, what if I never see you again?" Mirroring her exact words from earlier on in the arc, as Wonder Woman knows that if she stays with the guy she just met in their budding romance, she wouldn't be able to get back to the League and fend off the rest of the Axis forces as they launch their end game plan. And I ain't gonna hold y'all, when I was first watching watching this episode to do this theme breakdown, I'm thinking, yo, the league is mad watered down, and like, bro, they're fighting in World War II era. Like, it should even be more of a cakewalk. And if we keep it a stack, Superman himself could have taken on the whole Axis forces, but no, they delegate him and Hawkgirl to link up with the Blackhawks, a group of jet fighters from different countries that were under the Axis's control. Not only do they share the power of flight and have the colors of Superman, their sigil is a hawk. Need I say any more? Throughout this episode, at least to me, it seemed like the Blackhawks were taking more of the leadership initiative, and Superman and Hawkgirl were playing more of a supporting role, but they were doing the heavy lifting. And I think that this was done to make it seem like the Allies were the reason why the World War was won, as opposed to just being some superpowered men and women from the future. That would not be how history would have remembered it. Remember, they had went back in time. It was kind of like Captain America and the Howling Commandos. And I think by doing it this way, it would allow history to not be altered in such a vast way. The Savage Times highlight the importance of considering the long-term consequences of our actions and the difficulty of making ethical decisions in the face of uncertainty. We see how even small actions can have far-reaching effects and how the heroes must be careful not to make things worse while trying to fix their timeline. This theme raises questions about the ethics and responsibility of time travel and the importance of learning from mistakes of the past. Man, I love this episode. It was one of my favorite episodes from Justice League, and I remember this so vividly from my childhood. Also, me being a big history buff, mixing in one of my favorite subjects with some of my favorite superheroes, it was like a match made in heaven. And not only that, this is how they ended season 1. Like, dog, what a way to end it with a bang. Rewatching these episodes brought back so many good memories from my childhood, and now as an adult, things and themes hit different. And being a history buff I am today, there were a couple historical inaccuracies, like Savage receiving the knowledge of D-Day being on June 6th, and the capture of Khan was the objective, even though in real life the Allied troops didn't reach the center of the city until the 10th of June. The troops fighting in and around Khan were actually British and Canadian, not American as we saw in the episode. The American landings were further to the west and did not include Khan as an objective, but nonetheless, this does not take away from the greatness that is the Savage Times. It is a 10 out of 10 and I recommend it. I don't care what you say. Thank you for stopping by the channel and checking out our video today. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button and turn the notifications and alerts on. You do not know how much it means to us. Also, make sure to drop a comment down below on what you thought of the video and whether you agreed or not. And well, with that, you already know what it is, baby. Got a blast.